Good morning and a very beautiful Monday morning to you, and a warm welcome to the press, reaching you live from the nation's capital, Abuja. I am Olamide Alhassan, and you're welcome once again to the press. We've now been joined by guests, an amazing guest that you would definitely love to meet. He's Ambassador Clem Aguiyi. He's the UN Ambassador for Peace, and he's also a writer on a columnist on Saturday Sun and Tuesday Telegraph. You're welcome to the studio this morning.
Thank you, Olamide, for having me in your studio.
Great to have you. I love the red cap.
I love it too. It's a part of our culture.
I like that. At least there are still people who retain our culture, people who do not forget who they are.
The red cap signifies peace and purity.
Interesting.
Yes. Even the Pope wears the red skull. You see the cardinals with their red skull.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely true. Pleasure to have you in the studio
I'm sure
this morning.
They borrowed from us.
Yeah, of course. I am so sure of that, because most of the time this day it's been like picking one thing from us and trying to modernize it, and then we think it's better off and we try to take it away from them eventually, and then we lose ourselves in the process.
That's not part of who we are or what we have become.
Of course.
So you have to go back and begin to assert our cultural expertise and cultural values.
I totally agree.
To be able to regain back our consciousness as Africans.
It's really so amazing to have you in the studio this morning. And viewers, this is also where our phone lines are now open for you to join the conversation, because our guest is well packed, and if you have all the questions, you can then start throwing them in, because our phone lines are currently open to you. So talking about peace, because you're an ambassador for peace, I want us to touch on what's currently happening in Nigeria. On the front page of the Punch newspaper, there's something that has taken the social media agog, the policy, in fact, every space, the media space, every single space, about the minors that were detained during the End Bad Governance / protests, hunger protests saga. Those children are still in detention, and there's been a lot of clamor for them to be released, though we hear conversations of them being granted bail. And that's literally outrageous. And there are conversations of why should they even be charged in the first place. Let's get your thoughts on that from your perspective as a person, as a Nigerian, and from your perspective as an ambassador for peace as well.
Yeah, thank you for that very question. About a month and a half ago, I wrote in my column, Tinubu, I love you. But here are some inconvenient truths. In that very article, I told the president to do something different. That those young men that were on the street protesting against hardship, demanding for good governance, are not planning to overthrow you. They just want to be heard about the inconveniences and the hardship, your policy, your Fed policies, your trial and error policies, how it is impacting them.
True. And
I reminded him of his role as an activist and a protester before he became president. And I know that if Tinubu was not the president of Nigeria today, he would have been among those protesting for good governance.
Absolutely.
And I asked him to do something differently. Release those young men from detention, call them for breakfast or dinner, speak to them about their policy and why the country is where it is today, and let them go. Because you cannot, in your good conscience, charge those children, charge those people for treason, and then convict them. And treason carries death penalty. And I reminded him that if one of those people are convicted and sentenced to death, you cannot even execute them. If you do that, you've dented your name and history as one of the African worst despotic leaders. I wrote it in my column. And that charging those minors, when I saw that, I cringed. It shouldn't have even, that charging wouldn't have even been happening at all. It shouldn't have. Charge them for what? Because you think there's no hunger in the land? You think that in a democracy we no longer have right to protest or complain? And you're charging them for treason? If he was even charging them maybe for disturbance of public peace or whatever, or any other minor offense, it could have been understandable. But treason in a democracy for protesting is unheard of anywhere. Totally,
especially when it comes to minors. Like
yes, the minors actually shouldn't have been charged to court. There's a process of charging minors if they have committed any offense, or how the juvenile court. what the federal government did was to undermine the juvenile court system in Nigeria by charging them to a public court. And I pray nothing happened to any of those children. Because if anything happens to any of them, and in fact, let me tell you, what should be going on now is to even know the number of people that were arrested and their condition. Maybe some of them may have even passed away while in detention. Because looking at those children, they are quite malnourished, not taken care of. I also want us to get into the inquiry to even know what are the provisions for taking care of them while they are in detention. Are they being fed?
Oh, no.
How many times are they being fed? Because they are not convicted.
Not yet.
Yes, so they have a right to be fed 3 times a day with good, decent meal, to look healthy.
But should a suspect of a crime, for instance, be kept in custody for more than 48 hours?
That is what the law says. But you can see that Nigeria is in reverse. Everything is down, everything has gone south. You kept people because they protested for more than 3 months in detention. And these are minors. When you look at them, you see they are minors. And you see the argument of the council to the federal government, saying that some of them are graduates, some of them are married men and women. Children. Some of them are, you are looking at children, we are looking at it here. And it just shows you how our humanity have gone astray in this country. And that somebody could be saying that, and they are actually defending the fact that you are minors. I don't know how the president feels. But if I am the president, whomever caused that embarrassment to the government will have to leave his job. Because I'm sure the president I know wouldn't have approved if he saw those minors. But I remember that I advised him to actually do something different from other leaders. There's nothing wrong in him having called those young men from prison, making sure of a breakfast or dinner with them, talk to them, know their grievances, use them as a point of contact to address the other Nigerian youth. Yes, you have called for Nigerian Youth Summit because you want to have a conversation about how the youth can make input in your government. But you are not showing good faith. Because the youth summit you are calling make no sense if you are actually charging minors, pure minors, or protesters for treason, for airing their opinion in a democracy. They have the right to assemble, they have the right to freedom of their speech, they have the right to protest. Protest is part of democracy. Tinubu was a protester. I joined him in protesting against the removal of subsidy by Goodluck Jonathan. I was sitting beside him when he was protesting. I was among the crowd that was hailing him. And now, in fact, all you need to do is to play back that very speech he made. You don't even need to go to the street and protest. All the media need to do is to lift it up, and every 1 hour you are playing what he said about Jonathan. And that's sufficient to convict him by his own conscience that this is what you said at a point like this. And when you're making a policy that is going to impact on the people, you have to check whether your policy is working or not. Policies do fail.
Absolutely.
And when policies fail, what you do is you withdraw back and rethink and rejig it. You cannot be moving forward on a policy that you know that is already failed policy. People are suffering, people are dying because of your policy, and yet you are going on with the policy. For who? IMF said that Nigeria will begin to benefit from your reform in the next 15 years.
Who's going to survive till then?
Who's going to be alive till then? People can't even buy their ordinary medication.
People can't even afford to buy food, first of all, because food, first of all, is health and life. People can't
afford to buy food. People, if you go to buy ordinary cereal in sachet, you find that what you're buying now is a quarter of what it's supposed to be.
Of course.
Not even even the companies that are manufacturing have keyed into the cheating and fleecing of Nigerians. You can't even buy petrol.
Because they have to still maintain working standards. They have to keep the business.
So you do the minimum wage, you increase worker salary, you're paying them 70,000 naira, and then everything is wiped out by inflation. Your 70,000 naira cannot even buy a bag of rice.
At all.
So what are you talking about?
You know, a lot of issues around this detention of the minors, especially from the angle of, okay, most of them were from the northern part of the country and all of that. So there are calls for an awakening in the northern part of the country. That's on one side. On the second side is the fact that the government is being perceived as authoritarian. Would you agree?
First of all, most of the youths, unfortunately, that we arranged were from the north. But I'm saying that Nigerians, not from the north.
Exactly.
Because Nigerians are Nigerians. It doesn't matter whether they are Southeasterners or Southwesterners. But you will understand that the Southeasterners did not actually go on the street to protest. Maybe they could have been part of those that are being arranged.
Sure.
In the Southwest, there were minimal protests in places like Lagos. Okay, there was a bit organized because they designated place for their protest. In the North, it is a different thing. And also, you have to understand that in the North, they are facing a different kind of situation and problem in Nigeria. The North is like the headquarters of poverty in Nigeria.
Absolutely.
Even though they have had power for a good number of years. But it's the headquarters, the capital of corruption, of poverty in Nigeria. Because when you travel down to that north, you see poverty at play. You see poverty in action.
Of course.
So it's understandable if you see them protesting against the hardship. Because they cannot even go to farm. Their farms are taken over by bandits.
They can't even produce food
They can't even
anymore.
produce food anymore to eat. They are not properly engaged. The population that we have there over the years that we have ignored, millions of youths that are out of school, no education, no skill, they depend on begging to eat, and now those who they can beg from no longer have to give to them. So you can understand them being on the street to protest against bad governance and hunger. You remember the name of Boko Haram? Boko Haram, we say that those who have gone to school and learned book are the haram. That book is haram. That they have destroyed their way of life and they ended up in corruption. So you understand it, that the fact that these people actually are the major victims of these failed policies of this government. So they being on the street to protest is understandable. And the government also, the fact that the police arrested more people in the north is also understandable because the protest was more pronounced in those areas. But like I said, it should have ended with arresting, putting down the protest, the way the government have put down the protest, without anybody being tortured, without anybody being killed as a result, and without anybody being charged for treason.
You know,
I mean, I was wondering whether the IGP of police went through those files and records and saw these things and concluded that I'm going to charge these minors for treason. I don't understand that.
It's even surprising that whoever sat on that case literally agreed to hold a case in court against those children, and they're not talking about having to grant them bail. Is that supposed to be a conversation?
It's not supposed to be a conversation. That charge shouldn't have been charged.
And who pays the bail? Who pays for the bail?
The federal government should go and pay their bill and they charge that case. Nobody should, that case should not go on. If this government wants to do something different, that case should be dropped. The Attorney General of the Federation should enter a nolle prosequi on that matter. It should enter it immediately. It's a needless case. It's a case that shouldn't have even gone to court at all. The government still have an opportunity and a time to redeem their image. They still have opportunity to say, Clem, we are not aware that these people were minors. The DPP, the Attorney General asked for the file to be brought to his office. He has an opportunity now to look at that file and say, you know what, please, nolle prosequi. And the president have an opportunity to still invite those young children that have been traumatized and tortured for 3 months in detention, for doing nothing other than to let their voice be heard. Call them for a dinner. It doesn't cost you anything.
I totally agree. Especially because
call them for breakfast. Discuss the issues with them. Apologize to them if you care, if you will, and use them as a point of contact to reach other Nigerian youth that are suffering. Because this protest will not end so long that hardship continues. If it doesn't blow out today, it will blow out tomorrow. So you got to do something about it. And you have to communicate effectively We have to have wider consultations to see how we can ameliorate, we can mitigate the suffering of the people. Because the suffering that is affecting Alhaji and the Reka sheep like me, the way it is affecting everybody. You can imagine what happened to Almajiri. And you think you are going to sit down there comfortably?
Those who rely on other people to support them from for their everyday lives.
You keep flying your Bombardier aircraft that you bought for 150 million. Keep riding your yachts and shiny limousines. But I can tell you one thing. If you don't take care of these ordinary people and make sure that they are fed, they will eat you one day. So they have right to eat.
I hope they listen and I hope they follow your advice. All right, now let's move on to other stories. So there's this headline on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune that says, "What I would have done as president to solve Nigeria's problem," says Atiku. Now it says Tinubu operates trial and error policies. That's one thing I want to find out. Do you really agree that he's currently operating on a trial and error policy? And on a second thought, do you think Atiku would have had a better hang of things at the moment? Because the three leading candidates all said they were going to remove fuel subsidy.
Yes.
And that's more like the root of the problem.
Yes. First of all, let me explain that subsidy is something that is common all over the world.
Sure.
There's no government that does not
subsidize something for its citizens.
One thing or the other for citizens. Because your primary role as a government is to make sure that your citizens are comfortable. I'll give you an example.
Okay.
When the war broke out between Russia and Ukraine and it affected the export of wheat around the world, which is very important. I didn't know that Ukraine was strategic in the production of the world wheat. And these wheats are what we use in doing baby milk,
sure,
biscuits, cornflakes, and other foods. What did India do? India banned export of wheat from India because they want to take care of their citizens first. My citizens have to eat before any other person. Now, coming to what the role of subsidy, we all, even the president of Nigeria then, because he was not even the president, we all agree that subsidy on petroleum should be removed. We all agreed on that because the subsidy is not going into helping the people or the government. These subsidies can become a cabal whereby some people are consuming from it. The subsidy regime in Nigeria is very opaque. You don't even know what is being subsidized and where the money is going to. So most people who said remove subsidy were saying it based on the ground that where is this subsidy and what is being subsidized? Because it does not make any sense to any Nigerian.
Exactly.
That Nigeria is a oil producing country and we are importing petrol. It doesn't make sense. We have 3 or 4 refineries in Nigeria. We have one in Port Harcourt. We have one in Warri. We have one in Kaduna. And we are spending billions of naira in payment of salaries and turnaround maintenance. And yet they cannot produce 1 bottle of petrol. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense that we have all these things, all this population of people working in NNPC that were paying big salaries, and yet we are importing petrol. Yet village people in River State are using pot and drums and producing petrol in the forest. I
was going to say that we have a lot of illegal refineries. It's impossible to refine fuel in Nigeria.
Yes, it's impossible for our refineries to work because of sabotage. And it is wickedness. So it doesn't make sense. Now, is Tinubu's policy working? It is not working. The sudden removal of subsidy, the way he removed it, without any plan, without wider consultation, just on his own address.
He said he only announced it. There was no longer provision, so it's long gone.
Well, the way he announced it, the way he said it, before he left the Eagle Square, cost of petroleum has gone up.
Yeah, instantly.
And once the cost of petroleum is affected, it affects every other thing. Because every other thing, including the food you buy in the market, the farmers have to transport the food from the farm to the market. And if you want to do price gouging, to say farmers cannot sell this amount, the farmers that are selling, you cannot sell a bag of rice or mudu of beans this amount. We still have to go to pay children's school fees, which has increased. You will still have to go and buy toiletries, which has increased. So you don't have any right to what you have done.
You know, I did an exploration one day. I decided to go very far to get the stuff that I needed for my home upkeep. So I discovered that, oh, I could get it way cheaper, and I was like, why is this so outrageous out there? But by the time I was going to transport it home, I realized that, oh my God, it was even more expensive than the items I had gotten.
So that is it. Even me coming here to come to your studio to fill my tank, I have to pay about 80,000 naira. Ordinary what I used to pay 13,000 naira or 15,000 naira to fuel my tank. And now I'm paying 80,000 naira, and yet the tank is not full. So translate it to other people in Nigeria that are also going through that. They have to pay their house rent because the house rent has increased.
Yes, I was going to say landlords decided an increased rent, even with the fact that most of them do not have to do any sort of renovation now. But it's a source of livelihood. They have to raise the standard to be able to make.
Because the landlord is talking about will have to buy medication because maybe he's getting older and he has maybe one time
and he has to feed. He has to send his children to school. Whose school fees has also increased.
So what do you want him to do? You have to increase his rent.
Of course.
So the problem is that the government is doing a trial and error policy, and the government policy that is what is even worst in the government policy is that you do not live in the life of people who are trying to implement austerity measures. If you want us to tighten our belt, cost our expense, you need to be spending money on luxury. You are spending money on items that you don't need. You are buying new aircrafts. I also read somewhere on social media, the vice president is also looking for a new aircraft too. You are buying a yacht. You are living in the midst of rocks in Abuja. Why are you going with the yacht you are buying? Why are you wasting Nigerians' money? You are buying brand new SUVs from China, from Japan, for House of Red members want billions. Every government official wants to be on a Prado Jeep and brand new Prado Jeep and every other thing. These are making the cost of governance high. You have to cut down on the cost of governance. There are so many leakages. You cut it down. Let the people lead by example. Let the people see it. And what is even more painful is that the president I know, because I've known him for a long time, is a man of the people. He's a man on the street. I don't know how he became a president. I begin to neglect the street. But let's
look at it from the antecedent of presidents from time to time. Most of them tend to just sit in that place and it may seem as though they become aloof to the realities of what people go through. Because
once you become a president, you assemble a team of advisors. And those advisors are as good as the president. So if you have the unfortunate situation where you have wrong people advising you, the little you can do as a president. They may tell you that outside there is dark. Meanwhile, there is sunlight.
You know, I saw a particular clip of Boris Johnson once upon a time, and he went into a store himself to shop for items because he wanted to know the realities of how much these items cost.
Yes.
He wanted to know himself. Yes. So he went, he picked up his, basket, and then he started picking things from the store. And I was like, okay, this kind of person can tell you that rice is sold for 200 naira per mudu, and you would know, you would believe him. Compared to someone who has no idea of the realities in the market. He doesn't shop for himself. He doesn't even know what's going on in the market. Probably doesn't even know the tariff. He doesn't even know how much it costs for tariff right now. He only knows that Nigerians are wailing.
I wish we have a culture and a system that can make what you just said possible for a president to walk into the shop to shop for himself. Don't forget that Britain has a different culture.
Of course.
You can see the prime minister on the train, like any other human being. You can see the prime minister going to the shop because they are running a parliamentary system of government where you have to be in the parliament to defend every policy that you are pushing. If Nigeria run a parliamentary system, why would Robert Buhari, who cannot communicate his idea, be president of Nigeria? He can't be a prime minister. Because for you to be a prime minister, you have to have the gap of the West to convince your fellow lawmakers. Because you're just a numero uno. And you will be able to do all those things. But we're running a system where it can be a syndrome system, where the president is like a god.
Of course.
And surrounded by protocols that make him unreachable to the people. That does not mean to say that he cannot get the feelers from the people, because he comes from a community. And if I were the president, when he went to England to spend 2 weeks holiday, I was not so pleased about that. I wish he would have gone to his village to spend that holiday and let the people come. And he interviewed them, he talks to them personally, getting personal with them, and gauge the pulse of the people, and listen to what people are talking about him. The president that I know is not a very terrible human being. He's not terrible the way his government is running. The government is running terribly. But I know that he's not a very terrible. I know the wife. The wife grew from a teacher to become governor's wife, to become senator, to become first lady of Nigeria today. I know she was somebody. This is somebody that I know that is humane in character. But now, as the president's wife, you see things going awry. And I don't know even how she feels as a mother. Seeing the
I know she's been doing a lot of humanitarian works, but how many?
Exactly. Nigeria does not need a palliative economy.
A minute, Ambassador Clem. Let's quickly through this call. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. You're welcome to the press. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Well, this is Mr. Schmeichel. I'm calling from Lagos.
All right, Mr. Michael. Please join the conversation this morning.
All right. You see, the situation in Nigeria is a master and slave kind of scenario. That is what we have here, right?
Okay.
Now, tell me, is it possible for you as a parent to tell your children, okay, things are hard this time around, okay, and then you go ahead drinking beer, and that's the thing, just manage the area and things in this time. It is not there.
Exactly what Ambassador Clem said earlier. Here.
That means that things are very, very hard this time around.
Sure.
And then they say they want to cut costs. Okay. How many ministers left? 5, right?
Yes.
And then you have 7 more coming inside. Are you using cost of governance or you're increasing it? Those are the things.
All right.
My brother there has said it all. There is no way. You must live by example. Even as a father in the house, you cannot begin to do your children things are hard, and then you are taking beer, and then you are living larger than life, and then you are enjoying yourself, and you say actually just let me manage it. You don't belong anywhere. So once you elect them, you discover that during election you see them buying corn and selling, carrying granite, helping a granite seller to carry their granite. Immediately once you vote them, they become an emperor. And then they listen to whatever. They just want to do please them.
All right.
So that is the situation we find ourselves. It is a master and slave kind of relationship. That's what we're having here.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Michael. Thank you so much for your contribution. All right. Thank you. He raised a point just like you had said. He said president has to lead by example. He made reference to a father who tells his children things are a bit hard, so drink Gary, and then he's out there probably drinking beer and enjoying life. So the president has to lead by example. And I had stated clearly that that's basically what you had talked about. But let me quickly take this one again before you comment completely. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. You're welcome to the press. Please tell us your name and where you're calling from.
Ryan from Abuja.
All right, Mr. Ryan, please join the conversation.
Thank you. I couldn't follow you, but I have something to drop.
Okay, sir.
During the weekend, 2 things happened from 2 different countries. Nigeria, I think, Cuba.
Okay.
And they are similar. The minister, like Minister Umai, attacked a woman for complaining that her land was trampled by the federal government.
Okay.
He ordered the security to throw the woman out of the town hall meeting. Another one happened in another country. A king, that even our minister is not up to quarter of his position. A king was attacked on the street when he went to commiserate with the people that were affected by flood. The queen and the king were there, even being attacked through a lot of things from them. They were still there begging the people to calm down, that they will seek solution to it. This is the country we live. We have in position. But you know why the woman matter did not hurt me? I just bring it to our body. It didn't hurt me because even there she shamelessly said that she was the patriot, that she worked for Tinubu. And I'm happy that the same person she worked for is hurting her in return. Yes. But these are the type of people we have in government.
All right.
Another thing I want to talk about, please. There is no time to delay. Election is far, but it's near.
Of course.
You can see what is happening in US. The same people who manipulated our election and brought Buhari in and now Tinubu, they too they are facing the same thing. And I am happy for them. Let us not wait for election to come.
All right.
Before we take decision. Let's start planning now. Thank you, Nigeria.
Thank you so much, Mr. Rahim. Thank you for your contribution. Now, I'd like you to take Mr. Rahim's thoughts alongside Mr. Michael's thoughts. Mr. Michael's thoughts was the fact that the government needs to lead by example. Mr. Rahim's thoughts is the fact that I don't even know how to explain his point exactly, because part of what he's saying is that we have some sort of government power that doesn't look out for the citizens. That's where he's heading to. I'd like to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, first of all, on the first caller,
yes,
I will tell you that we don't need to overemphasize the fact that
because that was what you were making.
The government have to live by example.
Sure.
Just like he said, just like I have said, every government have to live by example as the leaders, so that the people can follow.
Sure.
You need good leadership to have good followership. You need to have that communication, and our policy should be people-centered and not otherwise. You have to think about your people. How do I please my people? If you have IMF or World Bank commending you, know that something is wrong with you. Know that you're wicked to your people because they have you where they need you.
So you feel like they're not people-centric?
No, they're not people-centric. All they are interested is in neocolonialism. How to get your resources and colonize it. So they dangle loans to you and all one of things. And this government has fallen for that. And that is why we are where we are with the government. Because the government is no longer caring about the people. Now, coming to the second caller, let me tell him, okay, fine. It's not wrong that anybody work for Tinubu or work for Atiku or work for P2B. I mean, campaign is over.
Of course.
Somebody has won the election.
Now it's time for governance.
It's time for governance. Now that you have been installed as the government, my prayer is that you succeed. I still disagree with President Tinubu on his policies, but I love him dearly. And I want him to succeed. I hate the fact that in this country we are being ruled by a band of idiots who doesn't care about the people.
Exactly.
You saw what happened between a House of Representative member
and an Uber driver. Who doesn't even know whether he's a senator or he's a House of Representative member. So I'm a senator of this country.
Yes, he says he's a senator of this country. And he told somebody on that recording, I would disappear you.
And nothing is
going to happen.
And he said, call the IGP.
Call the IG, because call Kekereku, and nothing will happen. This is the kind of people that are
a huge challenge that I expect even the IGP to come out to address.
I expect even the court to come and hard on him. I expect his constituents to recall him, because he's a bad example.
Dismissed, actually.
I expect his colleagues in the House of Representatives to throw him out.
Exactly.
Because even though they are all bad, but this one has exposed them.
He was supposed to be a scapegoat for people to learn from.
For people to learn. And a few days after that, I saw another viral video. I don't remember the name of the House of Rep member, who attacked a woman physically and told her, I will injure you. On the viral video. These are the people that are leading us. From councillor to chairman local government, to House of Assembly, to House of Rep, to Senate, to presidency. They don't care about you.
You know, someone once said during election, you find them coming to help you, doing everything for you, but as soon as they assume positions, it means you are nothing to them.
Yes, they're able to do that because you don't hold them accountable when they go into governance.
Maybe we're emotional people.
Well,
we tend to thrive based on emotions, so they get us through those emotions.
I think hunger will unite us now, and then we leave our emotion, because right now, the way things are, I don't know who will survive even the next election, the way things are. So, but important thing now is to put these people in prayer, let God touch their hearts, so that they can begin to think about the people, so that they can look at their policies and see how it is hurting the people and make it right. Okay? It doesn't mean that they don't have good intention to make it right, but maybe what they have on the table, the advice they're getting are wrong advices. You understand what I'm trying to communicate here? So I don't want the government to fail. I'm not even looking at next election, what we're talking about, because you have to be alive to be part of the next election. I don't pray that this hardship continues. My prayer is that this hardship will lessen, and that we begin to have a policy that are people-centric, policy that are incongruous, monetary policy that are incongruous with the fiscal policy. Because there are a lot of wastage and leakages in the executive arm of government. CBN will be talking a different thing or trying to make 20 days. You don't float your naira the way they have floated the naira. That should be gradually incremental, progressional.
That's another thing that people are blaming the president for. And again, another angle to this conversation is the fact that we think we have a president who believes in a palliative government. Do you see a palliative situation working for the situation of Nigerians now? More like giving palliatives all the time, because first of all, we talked about, trucks of rice have been distributed to some places. We talked about, 50 kg bag of rice now sold for 40,000 naira. I've not seen any single Nigerian that would say, I got this same rice, I was able to buy mine. A lot of times, we've gone to give this, we're giving conditional cash transfer, we're making this arrangement here, making time. Palliatives here and there, but none seem to be working. And this issue of making arrangement for CNG buses, CNG kits for commercial drivers, I don't know how many commercial drivers have been able to lay their hands on that.
Thank you for your question. Like I said, what we need in Nigeria right now is not a palliative economy. We need to rejig our economy in such a way that everybody will be taken care of. Because if you ask me about the palliatives that I've been hearing, thousands of palliatives going here and there, most of the palliatives are being hijacked by party faithfuls and by the people still on top, keeping it for their own election. The people are not getting the palliatives. And when they even get the palliatives, what they get is even insulting. You see somebody getting maybe 1 cup of rice, and you say it's palliative.
How's that supposed to resolve anything?
Have you received anyone yourself?
No.
The conditional transfer, have you received anyone yourself? Are you very comfortable? So what I'm trying to say is that the issue of palliative is not working. Get into a system where we can have a system that works. Nigerians do not need handouts. We are not crying for handouts. We are crying for a level playing ground, good environment, security, peace, so that we can go about our normal business, be able to put food on our table. Nigerians are not looking for free medical health care. They want to be able to afford a health care of their choice.
Exactly.
They want to go to the hospital, get good
choice
doctors,
things.
And get they want to walk into the pharmacy store and be able to buy their prescription drug at an affordable price. That's what Nigerians want. Nigerians are not looking for scholarship for all their children.
Older citizens also need to be taken care of.
Yes, they want to be able to send their children to school, public school that are functional, that are equipped. Yes. Before it was a pride to go to government secondary school, but now it's a shame to go there. People want to go to private schools, which is very expensive. You are paying for a child 1.something million naira. What about the poor man children who cannot afford private schools? So we need a system that can take care of the people, so that going to London for your medical tourism
will not become attractive anymore.
It becomes the course of your choice. You want to go to London and do that.
Of course.
You want to send your children to Loyola College. It's your choice. But let government schools be able to provide the same education that you can get from those private schools. You want to be able to go to the market and buy foodstuff at affordable price. If you want to go down to any big supermarket where they put price tag that are beyond the reach to buy, that is your choice.
At least you know that
you want to eat food, you're able to go to one joint and buy a plate of rice and maybe the one meat or one fish inside and eat at an affordable price. But if you want to go to Charlton or Nikon and eat octopus and elephant nose, it's your choice.
Absolutely.
But what we are saying that we need an economy that will be able to take care of everybody, an all-inclusive economy that people can afford to live their daily life without depending on government palliative. And if you understand the meaning of palliative, it's not a palliative is just to keep you going, keep you alive, keep you existing, not even surviving. You understand?
Very well.
And you ask yourself, this palliative that this social transfer they make, how much are they transferring? What can it buy? Can it buy a bag of rice? How long will a bag of rice take a family of 5 people? How long will a bag of gari take care? Some of these people that you are seeing cannot even afford kerosene, gas, to cook that rice you are giving to them.
Gas is not very expensive.
They don't even have, you give me rice. What about tomatoes and pepper and onions? Are they affordable?
At all.
So the issue is not about palliative. So you should stop all this nonsense about palliative and no palliative. The workers are not asking to pay the 200,000 naira, when the 200,000 naira is like Zimbabwe money.
The 200,000 will not even solve it.
It will not solve the problem. So what we want is get our country back the way it was.
Exactly.
So we can live our normal life and be able to take care of our problems in our normal way. The average Nigerian is not a beggar.
Of course.
Doesn't depend on government to do everything for them. The government never did everything for us. But we want to be able to work, contribute to the economy, and also be able to pay our taxes, be able to take care of our family. It is a pride that I'm able to clothe my wife, feed my children.
Of course.
It's what make me a man in the house. And not to go and stand on the line to be shared a loaf of bread that I know that before I get home, I've eaten half of it because I'm hungry already. So this is not what we need in Nigeria. Let the government sit down and think properly and look at our fiscal policy and our monetary policy and our way of running government and our way of life and what we're positioning to outside there and come up with something that is congruous. That is all. It's as simple as ABC. Just like somebody said here, you remove 5 ministers, you brought in another 7. I don't have any problem with the quantity of the tools you want to work with, but how effective are they? Or how do you call the cost of them being there? Are they coming in there to become, to everybody driving on a large convoy of government expenses? Are they coming in there so that they can be taking holidays to every other time, taking holidays to London at the taxpayers' money? Are they coming there because once you appoint them, they ship their family abroad, and then we are here suffering? And every time every month, they take the government allocation and change it into dollars.
Another conversation.
You understand? So these are the issues. If you want to have 100 ministers, that's left for you. But what we are saying is that their livelihood should not be at the expense of the taxpayers.
Absolutely.
That's what we're saying.
All right, before we wrap up, we just have like 6 more minutes. I want us to talk about this issue between Dangote Refinery, Ipman, and Petran. You know, there's been conversations around this should revoke licenses of importers of fuel coming from Dangote. He's been agitating for that. And now they are also saying that it's cheaper to import their fuel than to buy from Dangote. Dangote is saying it's cheaper for them to buy within the country, except they are saying they are buying adulterated fuel and not standard quality. I want to get your opinion on that.
I'll be honest with you.
Okay.
I'm confused with Dangote. Very confused. Because I don't know why Dangote is not straight with Nigerians on the issue. I don't also know what game he's playing with NNPC and the federal government on the issue of petrol. People like me fed up when Dangote come on stream that things will be a lot more easier because
not just I think like 90% of Nigerians are injured to solve the problem.
All those layers of taxations that actually increase imported fuel prices will have been removed because we are producing locally. And one of those that said, look, take our OPEC domestic quota, give it to Dangote to refine, so that you can sell to us at a cheaper rate. If you say that there are other countries that are looking for our petroleum that in the border there, please tighten the border, because our people here need to survive. But what I don't understand with Dangote is, why is it that every single meeting or agreement he has, either with the government or NNPCL or IPMAN, end up in controversy? End up in controversy. NNPC, before he started saying that there was a blending company in Malta, and they said, okay, give him a local domestic distance, and they gave him, and then again he had a, but I would know if he has gone into NNPCL for their off-taker agreement, whereby NNPC becomes the sole off-taker of the motor product, and then the same NNPCL after some time said, we have hands off from off-take, and yet you are regulating price. IPMAN said we have paid Dangote for supply, but we are not getting loaded. And Dangote is saying that nobody has paid them. Who do we believe? And Dangote, from every indication, is angry for monopoly, which I'm against. I'm against monopolist. If I were NNPCL, if the federal government even have any modicum of credibility, and like I expect they should have, I will make my 3 refineries work. And let them compete with Dangote refinery. Because the confusion coming from Dangote is, I'm confused. I don't even know who to believe among them. I don't know. Believe you me. In fact, if Dangote didn't come on stage,
let's take this call as our final call while we wrap up. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. This is Engineer Ayo calling from Ogun State.
All right, Engineer, please join the conversation. You have 60 seconds.
Yeah, thank you. I want to talk about the issue of this government. Now, you see, it's like the program for this government is for some selected few. Let me put it that way. Now look at the issue of this transportation issue. They came up with the idea that maybe workers should be going to work 3 times in a week. Now, are we really talking about the civil servants or the public servants? Because you can't tell people working in the private sector that they should be going to work 3 times in a week. So it's like all the program is towards a sector in the country. Now, also look at when they are saying they want to be selling bag of rice for 40,000 naira. They are saying it's for the civil servants, right? So what about the people in the private sector?
All right.
Okay. Now, this issue of conversion of vehicles to CNG. Now, how many centers we have? Look at the whole of the Southwest. It's like we are having just 3. And private individual, how many of them can really pay for this money to convert these vehicles to CNG?
Right.
And lastly, for the issue of this palliative, now let me tell you, we don't need palliative. All this money they are putting on palliative. Let them put it on social amenities.
All right.
Now let them put it on what the common man will benefit, not only on palliative that is like a stomach infrastructure that will not even solve the immediate problem. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much.
Well, you had it well. We are running a confused economy.
I tell you.
There's confusion everywhere, and I think we see the government still have time. I think the president has spent about a year and something, if not up to 2 years. So we still have another 1.5 years or 2 years to put in stride. And if I were him, I would sit down with my team and look at how far we have gone, and look at gauge the people's cause, and be able to regenerate things. Running a selective economy like the caller has pointed here will not solve Nigerian problem.
Of course.
Because even the civil servants, you are giving this and
so I'd like
that.
you to drop the last words for them.
Yeah, even the civil servants, you are giving this and giving that. How many percentage of them, of Nigerians, are public civil servants?
Exactly.
You understand? What about the rest of the masses? So the problem continues. And my last word is that the government should end this confusion. Get more transparent with the people.
I totally agree, because this kind of selected thing is what causes job racketeering, because the next thing you see is everybody wants to be a civil servant and they start paying heavily for positions and offices, and it's really not anything funny. Thank you so much, Ambassador Clem Aguiyi. We really appreciate you. You are an ambassador for peace, a writer and a columnist on Saturday Sun and Tuesday Telegraph. We hope to see you more and more again on KAFTAN TV.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure to be
Thank you so much for being brutally honest. We really appreciate you.
We have to be honest because we want the government to succeed.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
I agree.
The government is my friend. They are my friends. I have my friends in government, but they have to know the truth.
I agree.
Only the truth will set us free and make us grow.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And thanks for coming with your red cap. It's beautiful.
Oh, thank you very much. So I have to wear it more often now.
Yeah, sure. Viewers, thank you so much for being a part of the show today. I really and sincerely apologize to those we couldn't take their calls. We'll take them again tomorrow. I am Olamide Alhassan, and I'll see you again later. Bye for now.